Wow. He's putting together a lovely sequence here. He's never won the world title, and he's let out a big roar there. And that's the first 88-metre throw of the competition. He's beginning to assert his dominance here on a title he's never got close to winning in the past. We know what a great performer he's been on the Olympic stage. He's a world champion now, more than a decade after he last tasted gold in London.
This is ManHOOD, and the topic today is putting in the work. And there's that old saying, you know me, I like my sayings, don't be upset by the results you didn't get by the work you didn't do. And there are many other variations behind that, but that's the gist of it. Don't be upset by the results you didn't get by the work you didn't do. So to go straight into it, I'm really excited about this one, and I know I always say that. And remember, we are a few men talking to all men. To my right, a man who certainly needs no introduction. Really happy to have him after however long we bumping into each other saying, hey, come on the show now, come on the show. He's finally here. My brother from another mother, Keyshawn Walcott, athlete, so many other titles. A man who, again, as I said, needs no introduction. And to his right, Luke Kwamina, another really good friend, motivational speaker. Really delighted, and I feel somewhat honored to have you guys here to have this discussion on such a topic that means so much when you uncover it, putting in the work, both of you in your own fields, and what you've done over the years, really a testament to that, the need to put in that work, and the results are shown. Many a time, you're not always guaranteed the results.
Yes.
And that in itself is where the champion mindset comes in your own conditioning. And I remember having a conversation with DJ Bravo, Sir Champion, and we were talking about that. And not everyone is going to be a DJ Bravo. Not everybody is going to be a Keyshawn Walcott. And therefore, champion mindset is not that you are going to be a champion on a national basis or international basis, but it's your own champion, and to be the best that you can be. But what we're going to be specifically talking about maybe in this particular segment is the need to put in the work. Otherwise, don't expect no results. And Keyshawn, you have so many stories with regards to that.
No, it's exactly what you were just saying, in terms of you put in the work, but you cannot expect the results. So I always tell myself 50-50, right? So even if I train hard, I work hard, I work towards a goal, it's not determined, or it's not going to be like, okay, Keyshawn, you deserve this, or this is going to be handed to you. It's like, no, you still have to go out there and work. So it's just like being able to now train hard, but also expect something to not go your way is what really makes a champion most times, because being able to bounce back, and I could tell you I've had many years of that. So it's not something that it's new to me. I've been doing this for a very long time, and to be able to now come today and say that, okay, I've been working towards a goal for so long. It's been, 13 years, 12 years, and to be able to now say, okay, yeah, Keyshawn, you're finally world champion. And it's like some will say, oh, it took so long, and it's just like, but you know what? It's like the longer it took to achieve, it feels a lot sweeter, And I've had a lot more experiences, a lot more stories that I can add to my whole career, and to my what we people will call your legacy.
Was there at any point? So the World Championship, was that always the goal? And was there a point that you said, listen, enough is enough, I need to look at something else?
Yeah, I've had many times where I've questioned my ability. I've sat down many times with my former coach Ishmael, and we always, one joke we used to make between ourselves is like, Keyshawn, you are an Olympic child. So your success is always going to come from Olympics. It's just like, but had many years, because for some reason, every World Championship year, I've had an injury. Mm-hmm. So 2013 ankle, 2015 ankle, 2017 elbow, 2019 ankle. So it's been like a real process of just doubt, It's like going in. So sometimes it's like, people talk about manifesting and different things like this. So also maybe that was in the back of my mind, knowing that, hey, Keyshawn, every year like this, you have had an injury. So maybe I myself have been bringing that injury onto myself, because it's just like I stand in my own way. But I would tell you after 2024, Paris Olympics, I sat down and I spoke to my agent and I was like, hey, listen, I know my ability. I know I still have a lot more to offer. I still know that I can reach, I still can achieve. And after what I did after my injury in 2023 with my Achilles and being able to now go to the Olympics and place 7th, I was like, Kishon, you know what? It just takes something small. I know deep down it's going to take something small to make a difference. But what is that small thing? So we now have to go searching. So coaching is one thing because I've been doing one thing for a very long time. And then it was just like, Kishon, you know what? Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to explore or try to do something different so that your body will react in a different way. But I would tell you, I don't trust a lot of coaches because I have learned a lot throughout my career, and I think I've built myself to a place where I can coach myself. But some people bring certain ideas into your life that you never thought was possible. Mm-hmm. And then I was fortunate enough to meet my current coach. He's literally like 80 years old, if people didn't know. Oh. He's like considered the guru, is Dr. Klaus. He's from Germany. He was coaching Neeraj Chopra before, the Indian guy who won the Olympics in 2021. And he decided that he wanted to retire because he wanted to spend more time with his family. And I was like, would it be possible for you to give me a program? So I was talking to my agent, and my agent was talking to him, and he was like, all we need is a program. Like, we're trying to make some changes. Kishon is well equipped to do what he needs to do on his own, but we're just trying to get a program. Mm-hmm. But his background is biomechanics. So I would tell you right now, he doesn't really have a program. So he doesn't have a structured program, but he have a structured method. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So his whole thing was like, let's wait until my contract is finished, and then we can, because obviously you are my athlete's competitor. So I can't just, and they had a contract that he can only coach that one guy. Mm-hmm. So it ended, he went back to Germany, we started to talk. He was like, okay, I cannot just give you a program, I need to see what you're doing, because his whole thing is about science. So he needs to measure, he needs to do this, he needs to analyze. So yeah, me being 32 years old, this is not somewhere where you want to change anything in your career. Mm-hmm. This is where you want to say, okay, Kishon, you've been doing it well for so long, you need to continue. But you now thinking that, how hard is change going to be? This is one of the hardest things as an athlete, because you now have to decide, are you willing to pay that price? You know, it can go good or it can go bad. You know, it can work. A lot of
literally and metaphorically pay the price.
Yeah, because you can get injured, but a lot of people tend to change coaches and that end their career. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's over because you take 2-3 years to adjust to a new training program and that's it, you know. So we started working literally virtually because he's in Germany, I'm in Trinidad. I would send him videos, whatnot. But just the input that he has had from the start just changed my entire perspective on javelin. Wow. Like, I relearned the entire thing, and I felt like I didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. So recently I went to Finland. They invited me to do, they have a World Javelin Conference, and they invited me and him to do the speech, the lecture. And my whole thing was based on, because this is literally, I would tell you, guesswork to science. Because that's how I felt. You know, it's just like guessing what I need to do and what I need to do this to accomplish this and different things like this. And now having someone come and just lay it out for you, it was just like, okay, I can see why I was at a disadvantage all these
moments.
I can see why I was at this disadvantage all these years, because when you look at the Germany and the Finland and the different countries, you can see why these people are dominating, you know? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just like, the change was one thing, but now being able to now say that, hey, Kishon, you are relearning this entire event at this age. Are you willing to do it? Mm-hmm. You know, are you willing to take the risk? Mm-hmm. I think like this is one of the main things we as not just athletes but individuals need to sometime take in consideration, because we sometimes just settle and we don't want to put any sort of effort. One of my main things is like, no risk, no story, you know? And I literally have this tattooed on my back. Because it's just like, it's been my life. And if I want to take it back to all the way to Toko, like sitting on the steps of my old home, it's just like I was sitting there and thinking like, Kishon, what are you going to do? You're going to give it 100%, or you're just going to think about it, you know?
But let me ask you something, because there's so much to unfold in that look, you know.
I love it. And some mental notes there.
Yeah, and just a couple of things as we talk about putting in the work, because all that is part of putting in the work. And Kishon, I mean, we've had, you know, several, I mean, I know you for what, over 13, 14 years now. And there's so many layers to unfold, because immediately I think, okay, your success is based on champion mindset, because there's so many things that you've gone through there that the average person without a big team in his corner will not do. Right? Yeah. And so part of your team then, and there's no disrespect to Ishmael Mustrapa, because he did what he had to do with the knowledge that he had, and he took you up to where he can go. But how, looking back at someone who says you're an Olympic child, and for you to tell yourself, no, I am more than that, and push past that, and then go seeking, and then get the information from the person who you sought out, and then tell yourself, even knowing that I'm going to take this risk. There's just so much.
Yeah, we create limits, you know. We as individuals, we create our own limits, to be honest. Like
our own glass.
Yeah, we literally kind of box ourselves in a lot of times. And for me, I could have taken that whole speech or that talk and say, Kishon, you know what? Yeah, like I've accomplished enough in Olympics, which I have told myself sometimes. Because obviously you have been in positions where you just sit down and it's hard. Like you have had injuries, you know, training not going the way you wanted. Just seeing your competitors, knowing that they're not better than you. But knowing that, okay, just 1 meter, 2 meters is the difference between you having a medal and being fifth or sixth. You know, and I could have just taken it and said, Kishon, you know what? Yeah, I've settled for the Olympics, you know. I could accomplish and achieve everything in the Olympics and just say, yeah, because obviously that by itself will be a great accomplishment. Yeah. But for me,
phenomenal.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, no, I want it. Like, and I know that I can achieve it, but obviously I know that, and you as an individual and you as an athlete, one of the most important things is nobody does it alone.
Yeah,
it's like you may think that this, okay, Kishon throwing javelin on the runway by himself, but that is not where the throw is made. That's not where the throw itself is created. That's not where the distance is created, you know? It takes a team. Yeah. It takes a team. So I now need to find and be able to say that, Kishon, you know, you need to bring someone in and say, I trust you to close my eyes and say, hey, you can guide me. And it's the same when it goes to doctor, physio, everything, because obviously everybody needs to work in harmony, you know? And for me, I was like, nah, I cannot say, because I cannot put that limit on myself, because for me, I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my everyday process, in my thoughts.
You're made for more than that. Yeah. I mean, you said about the tattoo on your back, no risk, no story. So my thing, you know, further to that is when you spoke about that meter, that it's just a meter, and the meter could determine whether or not you're a gold medalist or fifth, or not even making the final at that particular point. And then, you know, it reminded me of the conversation we had before we started to, you know, have this discussion today, where you said your space is sacrosanct, you know, your space is sacred at this point, and you can't be bothered with maybe, you know, calls or anyone that's not part of that immediate team for success. And so the question is, in the development of that mindset, and maybe Luke, even you chime in here, you know, that meter also brings with it persons who the naysayers, the country, you know, you've achieved a lot in a country that's a dot on the map. So here we have a gold medalist, now a world champion. But in those years in between that, there's the negativity. Yeah. So you're not only being, it's not the giving up. Is not only whether or not you have the wherewithal or the drive to push through, but also you're in an environment where
it's negative.
Where it's negative, and people don't share that vision because they think he's washed up. And yet you push through, and yet still 13 years later, world champion.
Yeah. Before Kishon answers that, because I want to go back, even though a lot of people know his story, I was dealing with the Man Up program with the young men under the Ministry of Culture and Community Development. And when you hear the word work, to the average man, we all don't interpret that the same way. Because a lot of what I'm hearing from him is that work is not just only physical. I'm hearing him talking a lot on the mindset aspect of work. When you talk about limitations, you can't work physically to get over that. It's mental work he's talking about. And then he comes to the epiphany that says, like we all have a lid. John Maxwell talks about the lid. And Eric Hoffa, I always use this quote. He says, in times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned is beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. So,
say that again.
Yeah, the learners is what inherit the earth, while the learned is beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. And what I love about that is experts know it, but they say masters, they know it, but they show back up empty. Meaning, I am open to learning again. And that's really what you call mastery. But I want to go back to where the concept of work, the beginning, because I got to tell you, as a teenager, I did national cricket. Work didn't create a smile for me as a youth. When you hear work, it's almost like it taking you away from play, taking you away from fun. So, Kishon, tell me in the beginning, where did you come into agreement that work and good results, there's a relationship there? When did that start?
My first loss. So I was very dominant in the Caribbean and in Trinidad as a junior, and I went on to the World Youth Olympics in Italy, first year 2009. Beat everybody in Trinidad, Carifta, everything, you're feeling high. And I went on and I placed 13th. And I was like, what? Okay. Started to make some excuses, started to do different things. 2010 went on again to World Juniors, placed 12th or 11th or something like this again. I was like, no. So after that, in 2010, I came home, I was still in Toko. I sat down with my mom and I was like, this here is never going to happen again. This feeling that I felt here is never going to happen again. So from that day is where I decided that, as you said, sometimes the work feels like, oh no, it's not enjoyable or anything like that. At that present moment, I separated the work and the enjoyment. And I literally deleted both of them.
So stick a pin in there, because
change the meaning of it.
Yeah.
The champion mindset is there, and I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, like I said, the other persons in their own fields, they all have that je ne sais quoi, they all have that thing, that stick-with-itness, that this is not going to happen, whether it be that I'm not going to get beaten again. For those, one, I'd like to know if you have figured it out as to where does that come from, and for persons who may not have that own self-drive, what are some of the things you can do to maybe, yes, you can see your team around you and things like that, but initially, unless you're doing something successfully, you may not have a team around you who's there to support you. But what is some advice within that someone who may not have that? I don't think I have that.
I think you do. I think you do, but it doesn't naturally comes where you think it may come.
Right.
Because you might love to hike, you might love to be adventurous, you realize the word I'm using is love, so that the feeling that erupts, that brings out, is completely different. So you need to start from that base. So it's like, for me, I used to love to throw. I just used to love to go, but I am very competitive, and you know this. So
Don't I know it?
So from my competitive nature,
I'd mash them up in a couple of things there, but
my competitive nature is where it all stemmed from. So it's like, I think most people sometimes miss this factor in the earlies, because a lot of people tend to do things because they are forced to do it, or they have no choice to do it, But for me, it was just in that present moment. Like, I would tell you, a lot of people don't know this, but this is how I started throwing javelin. My cousin, my other people in Togo was throwing. I used to play cricket. I was training cricket one day, and I literally turn around and say, I can do that better than you.
I remember that story. Yeah.
Nah, you can't. It's like, yeah, really? I'll show you. So, like, one of my main things has always been, let me show you what you tell me I cannot do. So it's like, that has been a driving force for me. And obviously now, as you get older, is where you now need to take in consideration, because sometimes you yourself as a youth think that you can do it all. And I needed to learn this lesson as well, and I think this is something people need to talk about, is control. And the level of control that you yourself actually have when it comes to doing certain things, I used to believe that I was in control of everything. And not just in sport, in everything, in every aspect of my life, because I want to have control. But then and this is like a first time story I'm sharing outside of my personal friends. I remember 2015 World Championship in China, Beijing, China. That year I threw 90 meters. Obviously, that's like top of the, expecting to go there and do well. And I didn't make the final. And I literally did not sleep that entire night. Like, I literally sat on my bed in the room, and was one of the first times, like, the question that was going through my head, and I literally was saying it, oh Lord, it was like, why me? Like, why me? Why me? Why me? And it was just like, I was directing the question to God, obviously. And it's just like, why me? Like, why do you choose me to be able to do all of this and go through all of this? Like, why have to learn these lessons over and over? It's like, why? Like, I train hard. I work hard. Like, I do everything I need to do. And at that moment, I don't know, it was like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. It was just like, Kishon, you do have control. Like, literally, from that day, like, the answer came to me, like, Kishon, you do not have control. You can work how hard you want. You can put in how much effort you want. But at the end of the day, the results does not belong to you. It's just like, work. It's just like, and from that day, I was like, yeah, see, this is where you now need to understand that 50-50. Just like, Kishon, you could put in all the work, but it does not guarantee that you here are going to walk away with this medal, because you have 32 other people putting in work.
Yeah. I want to jump in here. I'm going in my coaching hat here now. There is, on a deeper level, your potential within, right? At the beginning, it's powerful. And we have to develop ourselves to know to maximize this potential. But when people say they're competitive, what I hear from him really is that the identity he have of himself does not fit in the alignment of anything but the top. When you see yourself a certain way, it's very hard for you to accept certain positions. We call it competitiveness.
Yeah.
But when you know your potential, you know your horsepower, you know what it's very hard for that mind to say sitting down 5th and sitting down 7th when there's an internal thing that says you could be on the top of that podium. And my mom used to say this especially for talented people, because she saw me and I was very talented in certain things. She said, here's your challenge. You're depending on talent in areas that only work can carry. That means talent could only take you so far. Mm-hmm. You're natural. And sometimes talented people don't want to put in the level of work. Why? Because you could go and pick up the bat
and be good.
You ain't going in the nets for 2 weeks and make 50. And everybody's saying, whoa, Kwame, da-da-da-da. But you did not put. Then there's somebody with half your talent putting in double the work. And they're going and making 100 on the same weekend. And one of the worst things you could get is to be complimented when you're not maximizing your full potential, and you get comfortable and everybody say, yo, you the boss. But what I heard from him, and even when he had that time of reflection, is that he knew the potential for champion was inside of him, and he refused to accept the position that the competition gave him. And I love that, because you're asking about the difference. And you say, I probably don't have that. We all have it. It's an acceptance of your potential. There are things I know I could do. Rob, you know this. You call me now and say, Luke, I need to go and do a presentation on leadership in half hour. I ain't prepared, no. But when Luke goes there, potential is going to activate because you were born to do something. But what I love from this story is he refused to accept
mediocre.
Oh, that's what people have to get here today. Refuse it.
But also in Kishon, because I said, we there's always a play around where he'll say, I could beat you in this, I could beat you in that, and for most of those things he has, and it infuriates me because I'm like, there's no your core thing. How you coming and beating me on this, right? But it's also not looking at someone simply as a competitor or saying I am better than them. It's simply you telling yourself I am at this level, and it just so happens that you're seeing someone else achieve something that you may not have achieved at that particular point, and then they become that focal point. But we need to go to a break. But I also want to say that, in the story, the further story of you speaking to your cousin, I always remember you saying that a big part of it back then was that you wanted to go on a flight. You wanted to go on a plane. And to hear Kishore now speaking about Italy, China, Paris, all of these countries I haven't been, and it's phenomenal. Again, I'm getting goosebumps because there's a real sense of pride in what he's achieved, and like I said, even if you can, to anyone that's listening, tap into even a moment of that as to what it takes when you hear someone become not from an Olympian to a world champion. Also hearing the story of a coach who could only see as far as he could see, and as calling him an Olympic child, and it took himself to say, no, I am more than that. And so on that one, we take a break. We are talking about putting in the work.
Get ready for Kirk Franklin in concert. Prisoners No More. We meet at the Queen's Park Oval on March 21st for an unforgettable evening of revival and renewal with Kirk Franklin and his full band. Trinbago's top gospel artist, Jaron Nurse. Gates Praise, Blessed Messenger, JD and Nisa. St. Anthony's Music Ministry, Daron Sandy, Jediah Joseph, and also featuring Jerome Devines with Kingdom Army. Early bird tickets are sold out. General, Kids, VIP, Group, and Cabana tickets available at xstix.com. Kirk Franklin is coming to TNT.
Okay, let me see you, Cherry Hill. Now take it back. Let me see you rock off, shake off. Let me see you rock off. Let me see you kick right. Now step forward, now step back.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
Shake off. Let me see you rock off.
Eid Mubarak from Passad's The Food King. Joyful savings for every home this Eid on Ibis all-purpose flour, 5 kilograms, $29.99. Central Farm Halal duck, £4.99. Halal bone goat, £3.99. Dutch potatoes, £5, $10. Halal mince beef, £4.95. Chana large grain, 2,000 grams, $39.99. Split peas dal, 400 grams, 3 packs for $9.99. Regal seedless dates, Milks, 200 grams, $14.99. Fresh Harvest sweetened condensed milk, 390 grams, 3 tins for $25. Nestle Carnation evaporated milk, 250 ml, 2 packs, $15. Shake vermicelli wine, 200 grams, 4 packs, $19.99. Flavorite ice cream, 3.2 liters, 2 tubs, $99. Chubby soft drink, 2 cases, $77. Eid Mubarak from Passage to Food King. Sale ends 22nd March 2026 or while stocks last.
Quality value, that's our way. The real Bushsides, we're here to stay. The Food King Bushsides.
Calling all filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
This is ManHOOD, and we're talking about putting in the work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to go back on your little about the traveling part. Yeah, I remember the first time I traveled. It was on, I don't know if you know those little green piece of paper that you don't have a passport, and the travel document, they give you this.
Right.
This is what I traveled on the first time we went to St. Lucia. I didn't have a passport. Like, I didn't know anything about having a passport or anything like this. So, yeah, one of my incentives, because obviously, as you said, like competitiveness, but it also had a slight, I wouldn't say not envy, but a little jealousy, because my cousin, my brother, they went to Cardiff Games before me, you know, and I was the one left behind as a young boy. And I was like, nah, I want to go. I want to go too. I want to fly, you know. And it's just like, in our little group, we used to say like, oh, we want a free trip. Yeah. Like, you know, as youths. Yeah. But yes.
I still say that.
Yeah.
No, you grew up in Toco. I grew up Claxton Bay. Yeah. And I'll tell you, back in the day, the old airport with your waving gallery and stuff, if you know anything about a village, Jamaica national team from a village is a big deal.
Yeah, in our school, it used to have like, but our school has always been very good with sport, like Toco, because Mr. Aldacio, John Aldacio is like, so he's always made sure. We had one of the best gyms in the country in our school, like as an athlete, you know, and like even Ishmael, when he came up there, he was like, what? Yeah. It's like, no, that's so, cool. But yeah, going back, it was like, for me, I don't really like when people try to tell me my limits. I don't like when people tell me that, hey, listen, Kishon, like, this is what you can achieve. This is what you have achieved, you know, and one of the main things is like, purpose, right? And people wake up every day and question like, hey, what is the reason for here? What is the reason for doing this? And like, but one of the main things is like, you know, being able, as you said before, you have more to offer, and knowing deep down that, like for example, in 2024, I placed 7th, and everyone was like, oh, Kishon, you did so well coming back from injury and this, and I was like, what? Like, this is not it. It's just like, no, 7th? Like, what am I going to do with that? Like, I cannot say that, hey, Kishon, I went to the Olympics and I placed 7th. It's like, no. So it's like, but then I could also go behind and told you that, hey, I had a tear in my calf 2 weeks before the Olympics, but I wouldn't tell you that because I'm not trying to make an excuse, because any day I am an athlete and I'm going to put my body under pressure, so we have to expect these things.
Yeah, you're not in victim mode.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's always been about no, and maybe if we have enough time, we could also speak on the mental aspect of things, because it's very, very important. Like, I myself had to realize this further along the line. Like, I always think I was typical mentally strong, as people may say, you know, but, and then no,
we have the time, but I want to hear. I want to hear.
No, because like, I will step into the phase where you now speak on psychologists, like psychology, and you speaking with someone, and stuff, that one person giving you the tools and really equipping you with the tools to deal with situations when they arise. Because it's split at the moment, things pop up. You will go to a competition, rain falling, wind strong, this, that, hotel, bag don't show up, javelin don't show up, shoes don't show up, which I've been through all these things, But what you have to do, you have to compete. You have to find a way to compete. So it's even like that. Like when you say like negativity and the people saying, oh, he's washed up and he's different things like that. This is where that aspect of things come in. Because you now need to know how focus and how your vision is, because nobody's going to achieve it for you. And if you now going to take all these talk and all these different things that people are saying on the outside, when you know that every morning or every day you wake up and put in this set of work, but yet the results doesn't show up, but these people don't know anything about that, then how can these people now justify and say that, okay, Keyshawn isn't doing so and so? It's like, you don't know my daily.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know how many inches. I've had moments where I couldn't wear shoes. For years, since 2019, I could tell you, I've had 2 surgeries on my foot, and I told nobody about this. I've had Achilles problem, I've had Haglands bone, different things. I couldn't wear shoes. When I finish throw, I can't walk. Literally. I can't walk.
I just trying to, because it's not swimming you're doing, so I'm trying to figure out when you can't walk, the level of want to be able to still throw and go through that level of pain.
I have been in pain for years. Like, I've had, I went to Canada, my chiropractor is from Canada. I spent 3 months in Canada just to be able to train, just for him to work on my foot every day. Just for me to be able to throw. And you know what? You know what happened? I went to Worlds in 2025, tear my Achilles. Did I expect that? No. I put in all the work. But then I show up there, 5 minutes before my competition, Achilles rupture. What I go do? I could have said, you know what, Keyshawn, that is it. Because most of the time people will be like, yeah, that is the injury there, thing done. But for me, I was just like, no, like instantly, you need to be able to, and one of the things I tend to expect, I was literally telling one of my friends this yesterday, I was like, one of the things that we as, not just athletes, because I feel like I always bring my athletic life and personal life into everything, because it cannot be separated. Because if something is affecting me in my personal life, it's going to affect me in my athletic life. And you need to know this. And like I was telling one of my friends, she was going through something yesterday, and I was like, you need to feel. Just feel everything you need to feel right now. Because if you now try to push this down, it's going to pop back up somewhere else. And this is the same with track and field. If you now say, hey, you know what, I had a bad meet, or I had a bad year, and then you want to carry that into the next year, what do you expect going to happen? It's, you now need to analyze, feel whatever you need to feel in that moment, and leave it there. One of the most important things for us as athletes, and I think as humans as well, is that we need to leave things there. Like sometimes you need to just leave it there, deal with it, and leave it there and move on. Like this, you will actually accomplish a lot more, because you yourself just moving with a lot more light weight on your shoulders. You know, it's just like if you're moving around with all these baggage and different things, because mental weight is nothing compared to physical weight. You know?
That's powerful.
Yeah, there's just so many nuggets.
Yeah, I want to ask him something.
There's a quote I want to. You go ahead and ask.
2 things, Rob. When he talks about all these trips, right? We're not talking about an 11-member team sport here. This is not soccer, or football. This is not cricket, right? When you see them teams traveling, there's all kind of 15, 16, 19 people you're going with. I am curious to find out these trips that you were making. I don't want to say it could be lonely, but it's not a whole team, Rob. This man is doing these trips basically
By himself.
By himself.
When I was younger, it used to be easy, but now that I've gotten older, yes, sometimes it's a bit lonely because I miss my house. You know, I miss my place of comfort, and I like to be home. Like most of my friends, they know that Keyshawn is a homebody. I would stay home, watch TV, you know, chill, and be out of everybody's way. So yeah, sometimes it's a bit lonely, and knowing it gets even lonelier when you're doing bad.
Place get quiet.
Yeah, the place get quiet, and it's a lot more in your head, and it becomes heavy, you know. So it's like many times you will be there, and if you moving from hotel to hotel, place to place, and different. Sometimes you go to a country that maybe one person talking English. You know, you might find one person talking English, and that's it, and everybody else just...
That's tough.
Yeah.
And these are the sacrifices that people don't see. And I just want to read that quote that I told you because it just came up as very applicable. Where it says, you can never expect to succeed if you only put in work on the days you feel like it. And part of that, I mean, we've seen it, you know, not just because I know you, but in terms of on social media, where outside of competition, on Christmas, Carnival, all of these things, you're in the gym putting in the work. And even outside of the gym, there's a mindset, there's a dietary pattern, there's sacrifices that you make, like you said, about it being lonely, whether it's that you don't have a wife and kids at the time because the focus you're traveling so much.
I think, because one of the things, especially, let's zone in, right? I'm Trini. We are all Trini. Trinidad, nice. Trinidad, they have everything. You want to party, you want to lime, you want to... And
we could say it to the hardy women.
Yeah.
Most beautiful women.
But one of the main things is that I think you as a person who trying to achieve something, not just it is a personal achievement, but it's like a worldly achievement as well, because obviously my thing is against the world. So you now need to know that your friend, your mother, your father, your girlfriend, your wife, your son, daughter, nobody could really understand this feeling.
Yeah, you're right.
And they will never understand it because this is yours. This is what you want, right? And it's like I remember my friends would always tell me, Keyshawn, you don't rest. You don't stop. Like, let me go online. Like, what's people was like, hey, you win worlds now. You're done. You're like,
that would have been the obvious.
Yeah, you know, it's like, but I would tell you, like, you could never really see. I could literally give you, reach into my brain and give you my plan or give you my goal or my goals, and you will never see it the same way I see it. And this is prime example I always use is family members growing up in the same household and everybody coming out in a different way, because perspective is a hell of a thing, right? Like all of us seen the wall there, but all of us seen it in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's just like this, and for me, it's always been, I don't have any fear of missing out. I don't have that, because I know that my career is short, and I know after my career done, the things that I have accomplished and the things that I've built up, that I can have a lot of fun afterwards.
So World Championships isn't enough. The next thing is defending.
It's enough. No, actually, I don't even think about it like that. I don't need to defend because I've gotten what I want.
Right.
My goal was not to go and defend. But I've always told myself, like, one of the things, and I think now I'm in a position where it's possible because I'm healthy and I'm feeling good, training good, and we have a crystal clear plan that I don't have to guess anything, you know. One of the main things I always wanted to do is to leave a throw that the world will remember me for.
Come on, I like how that sounds.
You know, it's like medals is one thing. But you see that throw that somebody will say, hey, yeah, you know who did this? Keyshawn did this.
Yeah. Might even name it up.
Yeah. So, like, I need to, this is my goal. Like, this is my goal. Like, yeah, we have 2028, but those things, when they come, we will think about them. But in the present moment, my goal is to listen. I want to accomplish that throw that people will remember me for.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I'm going a little bit deeper on these trips. You didn't have any family members travel with you on any of these?
No, I'm not a cricketer, you know. Cricketers make plenty money.
With a whole squad of people.
It's football and thing is different, you know. I'm not a Usain Bolt or a different thing. It's different. So you have to now be smart. And this is one thing as well I try to teach athletes. Like, you need to be not just physically, mentally, but you need to financially stable as well. And financial literacy is a hell of a thing, because a lot of athletes just tend to feel like they're up and they could stay up. You're not going to stay up forever. So one of the things is just like, I always tend to see how best I can maximize what I need to make myself comfortable, because there's certain things that you need. I wouldn't lie. Like, I like certain nice things. Like, when it comes to like
all of us, buddy.
Yeah, like
gadgets, anything.
Yeah, but even like when it comes to like comfort, right? I take real pride in my comfort. So like when it goes to different places, I will be that person who will complain and say, "Nah, I can't do that because I want this," because I know at the end the results will be in my favor. So, but I'm not always, because my coach, we most of the time like, for example, I'm going to Portugal in April for a training camp. My coach will be there. I have my massage therapist. And
so the guy from Cuba?
No, a guy from Finland. Right. So most of my people is from Finland. My agent is from Finland. My massage therapist, best massage therapist in the world, to be honest. Like, boy, I want to
Finnish is good people. My brother-in-law is from Finland.
You know, I think that's a good plug. Thinking future, because you're listening to a world champion talking about some of the gaps that we could support athletes, right? And when you're thinking leadership beyond the event, like he talked about his gym, we might underestimate what role that played. But way down in Toko, there was a high school that probably put some resources in place. And today, I'm sure there's called our name plenty. Name calling every week, right?
I would tell anybody, like, I would be forever grateful. So growing up, and this is the thing, right? And let me just go back a little bit to my early life. So like growing up in Toko, obviously we wasn't well off. We wasn't our family. Like, I literally have a thing. This is my house where I grew up in Toko, little house. My first hustle or my first job, we used to sell on the side of the road, like CMOS, plantain, coconut. These
good thing,
things, right?
for the back.
Right. So like, because my father used to, as a gardener, I used to be so ashamed. I used to be so ashamed. Like, we used to have to bathe by a standpipe in the morning.
One of the best baths.
I
hear that. I thinking, boy, it is.
I know, but you thinking, boy, it is because you had more. But for me, it was like, I was ashamed because, for example, morning time, I bathe I in high school, I have to bathe by the standpipe, have a girl going up in a maxi that I like. And I don't want you to see me. I literally, it used to have a little cliff. I used to go and hide. No, see, I don't tell you, it's because I picture it as you say it. You know what could have been going through. Yeah. I was so ashamed because obviously, like, my life was at that point, but.
Totally understand.
And I used to go down and hide and wait until he make the maxi passing every day, same time. So I knew it. Go down and hide, bathe, whatever. But afterwards, you know, the things like I remember one time when I started throwing, I needed money because things you need to buy stuff, and I never want to burden my mother, you know. So I started planting. This guy came to Toko and he was planting cedar trees. So he used to, from 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock, he make a $350.
Nice.
I was like, what? Nice money. You know. So I used to go there work. Them time, and I was like in Form 6, so it's just like I didn't really need to go to school, to be honest. Work, then go and train in the evening. So jump on the maxi, like if I went to school, go back up with the maxi.
The girl on the maxi this time?
Nah, she's in school. But the reason why I'm saying all of this is I did not realize how all these things will play a part in my life later on.
So strong.
So I remember one time I was having a session with my psychologist, Dr. Otley, big up yourself, the best in the world. And she's told me one day, she was like, Keyshawn, just tell me your story from all the way back. And I started to tell her the same story, and only about going in the garden, going up on the hill, planting trees. My father carried me in the bush to tote planting, and I don't want to do it, and I vex, and I was like, I'll never do this in my life. And it's like, this life is not for me, and she was like, you see, she listened. And if there's one thing I must really applaud her, because she's like, I don't really talk to much people about my stuff, but she was like one person to get in. So she's very proud of that. But
Dr. Otley was responsible for my first song cut. I would just say that as a child. I still love her though.
Big up yourself, Doctor.
Yeah. So at the end, she was like, all right, Keyshawn, so I've listened to everything you said, and I will point out things to you that we will now bring from the past to the future, to the present, And she was like, all right, look at your career. Look at all the things you have to wake up every day and do. Look at the things you have to go through every day, and look at the things you don't like to do. Look at the things you have to do despite not wanting to do. The things you have to do despite being tired. The things you have to do despite being in pain. The things you have to do despite people telling you this. And then let's carry it back to you and your father with the planting. It's like, do you think that you would ever believe that build the persistence in your life? Like the persistence? Like you think that was a key factor that building that persistence that build you be able to
that mental fortitude.
To be able to endure all these things at this present moment. Like you not wanting to do those things back then, you being ashamed, but you still have to do it because you know that you need the money, you need to do this, you need to go and bathe, you need to do. So it's just like, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Did you? We need to go to a break. I just want to ask us two things. As you mentioned with that story. Remember I asked you earlier about that you have that I'm trying to tap into to see how maybe I could, apart from a love for something, do you think, Keyshawn, that it also came from you telling yourself, looking at something that you were good at, saying this could be my way out, and saying I am not going back to those days of planting, I'm not going back to my days of hiding behind a cliff, beating in a standpipe, and that in itself was also a driver to continue pushing to do something that you quite obviously realized you had potential?
Yes and no at the moment, because I didn't know where javelin could take me. Obviously, like you train, I didn't know where javelin could take me. But I would tell you, in my head, I have a board. I have a whiteboard, and since I was 15 years old, the first thing on top of that whiteboard was betterment. This was my heading for many years. Keyshawn, you want better. I don't know what better was, but I want better. I just know I want it, So it's just like that has been my driving force until some days now it's actually bad for me because I tend to not know how to celebrate little achievements and different things and, bask in the moment and different things. So it's just like, what's next?
Because that was my follow-up question before we go to the break. How do you receive world champion?
It is.
How many of us in life get in Trinidad, the world get to say, I am world champion. Not just I'm an Olympic champion, but I am world champion.
Yeah, it's honestly like, I feel like every other day I receive it in a different way. Like the other day I was looking back at my throws and I felt this sense of pride, It's just like, Keyshawn, you know what, you have accomplished so much. And it's just like sometimes you kind of belittle your own accomplishments because you tend to just want to move on. And I was like, Keyshawn, you know what, you are the world champion. Like,
come on.
Literally, I went on the internet and I was like, how many people have both Olympic goal and world goal at the same in the Caribbean. So that was my first search.
Let's even say how many people have Olympic gold, then go back the following Olympics and still medal.
Yeah.
And then years later, when people think they're going, you're expiring, so to speak, come and get a world championship.
Yeah. So I was like, and then I was like, it showed me Usain, it showed me Shellyan, it showed me Veronica, and then it showed me myself. I was like, man, you know what? I feel it good. It's just like, because I tend to really sometimes forget, as you said, like, how do you receive world champion? Sometimes you tend to, I always look at others. Like I look at past champions and see like how consistent they have been and different things like this. And it's just like, oh, Kishon, you could have done better. You could have had more. Obviously, I wanted it, but your story is your story. And this has
no risk, no story.
Yeah.
So we need to take a break. We're talking about putting in the work. It's like I don't want this episode to end.
Okay, let me see you, Cherry Hill. Yeah, now take it back. Let me see you rock off, shake off. Let me see you rock off. Let me see you kick right. Now step forward, now step back.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
Shake off. Let me see you rock off.
Ramadan specials at Food Basket, Arima, Shagwana, Champlain, and Gulf View. Goat, 4 pounds for $99. Chana, 5 pounds for $19.95. Delicious dates, $19.95 per pound. Big deal, 1 gallon oil, $59.95. Crown 8 kg rice, $59.95. Green butterfly evaporated milk, 3 for $17.95. 4Z vermicelli, 1600 gram, $24.95. Ramadan specials at Food Basket, Arima, Shagwana, Champlain, and Gulf View.
TNT, get ready for Kirk Franklin in concert. Prisoners No More. We meet at the Queen's Park Oval on March 21st for an unforgettable evening of revival and renewal with Kirk Franklin and his full band. And Trinbago's top gospel artist, Jaron Nurse. Gates Praise, Blessed Messenger, JD and Nisa. St. Anthony's Music Ministry, Daron Sandy, Jediah Joseph, and also featuring Jerome Devines with Kingdom Army. Early bird tickets are sold out. General, kids, VIP, group, and cabana tickets available at xstix.com. Kirk Franklin is coming to TNT.
Okay, let me see you, Cherry Hill. Yeah, now take it back. Let me see you rock off, shake off. Let me see you rock off. Let me see you kick right. Now step forward, now step back.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
Shake off. Let me see you rock off.
We honor faith, family, and community with our traditions, our stories. Ramadan. Join us as we journey through the history of masjids in Trinidad and Tobago, discover cherished recipes, and explore the deeper meaning of this holy month. Tune in every Monday at 8 p.m. on CNC3 and listen to Freedom 106.5 FM daily as we shine a light on the historical beauty and significance of Ramadan.
So dizzy. I think I'm gonna be sick.
Oh. Caleb, are you okay? Oh my God, are you all right?
Help! Cal!
Jackson? Hey, what's wrong?
It's Caleb. He's like really...
Where is he now?
It's not far. Come on, I'll show you.
Lead the way.
Be sure to catch Sullivan's Crossing. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Welcome back to Manhood, and we're talking today about putting in the work. Just before the break, Rob, Sean was talking about, I don't want to call it a balance, but being able to celebrate his accomplishments. The only athlete in field in the entire Caribbean to accomplish what we were talking about as far as Olympic and world championship, right? Medaling at the very top. And being able to soak that in a little bit and accept that, hey, I did it, right? What I wanted to ask him...
Just to add to that, through pain.
Through pain.
Which makes it
and things we learn of today.
Things we learn of today, which makes it even more phenomenal.
Yeah. I want to put him under a little bit of pressure because he said... It's almost like he was talking about his tenure. He said it's not forever. And I think that's important. Athletes, but also for all of us. Right? We're not going to be around forever. So all the athletes or anybody in their field wanting to do something on a world stage, do you think at any time about legacy, about another person somewhere in Mearu?
Yeah, right now is about my legacy. So I remember in 2023, this might come as a surprise, but that was the last year I had my last psychology session with Dr. Utley, 2023. And she was like, okay, I can't teach you anything anymore. She was like, yeah, that's it. Now it's about your legacy. And she was like, you will find it. Don't worry, you will figure it out. And for me now is like for example, I just recently opened a rehab center.
Incredible.
I also
Congrats
started.
on that.
Thank you. I also did. I also doing what we call Golden League. So I've been going to different communities and having competitions. This is like the second year, and that by itself is also part of my legacy, because I'm trying to find or trying to give these athletes opportunity that I didn't have, and that by itself brings a smile to my face. Like we recently had the last meet in Toko. You can imagine how happy I was because it's like this has never been done, and now the athletes are being able to perform in front of their parents, like close like this, and the parents right there, and it's a lot of the people who came up, they were like, Kishon, I love this because you know what? It felt like home. And I was like, this is I couldn't even imagine it, but this is exactly what I wanted. Because I want you to feel so comfortable, because this is part of mental preparation. Because we now need to be able to say, Kishon, I always look at it like this. I would be in the stadium in Tokyo, and I would say, Kishon, you need to find your comfort zone. You need to lock in. You need to zone in, and because everything is happening around you. You might have a bad throw and competition going on, but you need to forget that throw and move on to the next. How do you do that? Okay. What calms you down? What brings you back to this level of peace? My house. So I just sit down and envision myself in my house.
Powerful.
I'm just thinking, I'm here listening to Kishon again and just thinking from, if I was to do a story on him or a documentary, I'm just thinking of the green paper. From the green paper to what is now the stamps in his passport now. When you look back at that as as a sort of a journey in itself, just by the travel, that's something to be certainly admired, and to hear about that being part of your legacy. They talk about a leader, and a true leader is one who leaves something better than he found it, not the one who just is active in a particular environment or achieves solely, but who leaves something better. And it's almost a full circle moment for you.
Yeah, for me, I've lived 3 lives. I've lived 3 lives. So I've lived my life in Toko, where I grew up, and I have my upbringing and my roots and my groundness. It's just like people always, how you so you're not cocky, you're not thing. It's just like I grew up in Toko. You don't know what I went through, and just like telling you the story, those stories could never leave me. And it's just like those are the things that make you who you are. And then I came to Port of Spain, and I experienced that difference. And it's just, and then I started to travel the world.
Wow.
So it's just like those three things into one makes me who I am today.
Strong.
You know, and I always just piece it together and knowing that, Kishore, you know what? And I always tell people, I say one of the most important things and one of the best things you can do in this life is experience. Experience culture, experience this, experience food, you know? It's just like, just experience. Like if you have the ability, not everybody will have the ability to do it, but if you could travel, do it. It's like take the opportunity because the world is big, very, very big, and like that, I could tell you, like people. Everywhere I go now, people look at me and say, "You the same 19-year-old boy?" It's like, no, I'm not 19 years old anymore. Like I was once 19 years old from Toko, but that's not me. Like I'm not that person. Obviously, that person is still part of me, but this is not who I am going to be for the rest of my life. But we all go through phases, you know. And it's like people are like, "Oh, you never like to talk, you never like to do this." I was like, "Yeah, because that was the point in my life."
Yeah.
I also recall when you came back, and like I said, I had the honor of back then in 2012 to being allowed by our now Prime Minister and then Prime Minister as well, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, to go on the plane and greet you. And I always recall what was the most important thing for you was at the time was to ensure that you held those flowers for your mom and to give her those flowers.
Because she asked. Yeah. It's just like, I don't even understand people. I don't think I ever spoke about it, but my mom, the night before the final, she was looking at, because she's a sports lover. She loves cricket bad. I just be jealous sometimes, but she loves cricket bad. She called me and she was like, I want one of them flowers. She didn't know how to get the flowers. She didn't know you had to get a medal to get the flowers, eh? She just seen it, everybody receiving it. She's like, bring one of them flowers to me. I was like, she was like, you know how to get a medal for that? She's like, I was like, yeah. And then
it's almost like she knew.
Yeah, and that was it. It was just like we left it there. Give you a little insight again. Before the Olympic final in 2012, I had 2 fractures in my back. I never tell anybody this before. I had a fracture in my L1 and L3. So the doctor told me not to throw.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah, the doctor said, do not throw because you are young and you have a career ahead of you. And my response was like, I'm not sure to make an next Olympics. I'm not sure to be here ever again. So I'm going to take the chance now. I called my mother, cry, whatever you had to do, told her, like, hey, listen, what do you think, you know? She was like, well, do what you have to do. Like, you've been working hard, like, make the choice, you know?
Your book.
I still have it at home. I have literally the belt.
Brace.
Yeah, the brace. I had to use 2 braces. One of those, like, people that you cannot bend this way. You can't move so, you can't move so. And I have it literally like that. It's one of my prized possessions, you know. And yeah, like going into the competition itself, it's just like I had to kind of put that on the back burner because I'm like, after a while, you're having so much fun, you forget it even there, you know. And I would tell you, like, for example, now in this Worlds here, I had a problem with my Achilles. So I had to now think and say, Kishon, how are you going to figure this out? Because we know the qualification is 1 day before the final, less than 24 hours. I was like, all right, we're going to make it happen. But so plan, ting. I was like, pain is pain, but pain temporary, you know. Red Bull and Cataflam. And I was like, boy, I know my foot wouldn't hold up, but it had and I would tell you how this competition went. After my first throw, it was 81 meters, bad. Because the entire amount of athletes that were there, everybody was expecting someone to do a big throw. The first throw. It didn't happen, you know? And this is where, again, you would say, like when I said, like, my competitiveness, it stepped in. And I told myself, if all don't want to do it, I could do it. So I was like, yeah, it's second row. If all nobody do it, I will do it. So it's like nobody want to take the lead, I'll take the lead.
Step up.
So it's just like, yeah, this is how the competition went. And afterwards, I was in such a mind frame, or like where you say like most people like a flow state, you know. It's like I would tell you, like, if anybody was to pass me in that competition, nobody was beating me. Because anything I said, like, if you do this, I do in that. This was my mindset in that competition, you know. And most of the time, sometimes we tend to, it could have gone totally different. Because I could have just say, you know what, Kishon, you have a problem in your foot. You could get 2 good throws out of it. And I have done this in the past, you know, but I wanted this so bad. Like, I wanted it so bad. I say, like, hey, Kishon, you're going, it's like you have gotten the opportunity right here to fight. Mm-hmm. And what are you going to do? You're going to fight or you're not going to fight? You know, and in that moment, it's just like, yeah, it had no choice. You have to fight.
That is huge. You know what? I know, Rob, you're looking blown away. Same thing with me.
It's because, you know, with this, I'm thinking about the book, and I'm thinking, you know, when you see when he has no risk, no story, and there's just so many levels, because not only is it the champion mindset, but the champion mindset, the level of risk that you took, because there's on so many levels, from even that Olympic medal that you took that could be career ending, that you had a coach at that point who, to no disrespect to him, but had his own glass ceiling and his own vision.
Then you had a doctor who said,
on so many levels, and you had to see past all of that because you saw yourself somewhere and take that risk.
Again, I tell you, it's all about your whiteboard.
Betterment.
Your white. No, it doesn't have to be betterment. It has to be, it's just your goals. Nobody could see your goals. And this is one of the driving force that for me has been able to carry me for that long 13 years, knowing that is my goal. And listen, you have to be selfish, you know. Mm-hmm. If it's one thing, you have to be selfish. Mm-hmm. As an athlete, especially in a one-man sport, you have to be selfish. And listen, I love my country to death. My pride comes from representing my country, you know. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if I don't do this for myself first, I will be in shambles.
You'll put on your life jacket first.
Because I will be in shambles. If I don't put myself first, and this has been one of the main things that have been able to guard me from comments negative, this, that, whatever, he's done, like we're giving him that for, that, blah, blah, blah. I am doing this for me first. Mm-hmm. Because I know once I succeed, my country succeeds.
Country will be happy.
Yeah.
You know, Rob, I just listening to that because I wanted to know. I know we're coming down to an end, but somehow for my story, and I'm listening to him, that there's a spiritual side to things too. I hear the mental, I hear the physical, but when a doctor, because remember, you know, people do surgeries and stuff, a doctor say, you have 4 months to live, and then we hear somebody say, they're living for 4 years. Yeah. This is professional advice. Something else is kicking in. This is a man with 2 fractures. We now learning about this. Now, while the brace could help in one way, it could have restricted in another way. He's saying you can't move to the right and left. So he's literally helping himself with another limitation here on the physical, and is going to compete. And it's something that I keep hearing. There's a book called Hung by the Tongue. What to say to yourself when you speak to yourself. Every time, listen to him, what I have heard. He said something to himself that set the bar. No, he has potential to say something else. Because he could have said, yo, this thing, look, Kishon, you hear what the doctor say? You go to his mother put it back on him. What you want to do. He comes and he tells himself, all right, nobody want to take the lead? I'm going to take the lead. And if somebody wants to take the lead after that, I'm going to throw even further. And he received the result of what he literally said to himself. And I feel now when I think about young people, while we build the gyms, while we build the tracks, while we build the fields, I'm hearing that the work on the internal
is so important.
That has to start early.
There's a couple things I want to unfold there. So the first is you said about spirituality, and Kishon had mentioned about that moment
and God,
about I'm not in control.
Why me? Yes.
Why you? In China, right? And a big part of that, which I think you didn't finish, was the fact that it wasn't that you've realized at that moment, it was an epiphany moment that God is in control and that God has your back. And once you put in the work, the plan is there, and you're giving yourself into the plan of the divine.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you the old people used to say, God will provide. God will provide. I never liked it. I never liked that saying, because I always wonder, like, how
exactly.
You know, but then as I've gotten older, I've gotten to experience things a lot more. I realized that they themselves they said it, but they didn't elaborate on it, because maybe some of them didn't quite understand. But it's like, yes, he will provide, but you have to put the work. You have to do the work. You have to lay.
Powerful.
Yeah,
that is powerful.
It's like you sitting at home and saying, I will get this job, but you're not doing nothing to get the job. I will get $5, but you're not doing nothing to get the $5. You know, but at the end of the day, if you put yourself in that position, and it goes all the way back, because I will tell you, everything in my life is tied in. It goes all the way back to me saying no risk, no story. Because if I don't step up and step out, I am never going to be able to know if it will be possible. You know, so I wouldn't know. Yes, I taking a chance. I waking up every day. I tell people, listen, one of the things people don't understand, I don't get paid to train.
Yeah.
That's one thing in all of this conversation so far, because we keep mentioning about putting in the work. I want you to give the nation an insight into what that looks like, what that environment looks like when even outside of competition.
It's hard. Like, people don't understand how hard it is. Like, I train Monday to Saturday. At least now I'm a bit older, so it's like about 4 hours for the day. You know, it used to be way more. Remember, you waking up every day, and sometimes you have nobody to motivate you. You have to wake up and say, Kishon, like, I woke up yesterday and I was like, my body's stiff. I was like, I don't want to train today, I had to do it, you know, but I have to do it. And you have to jump up. And I said, like, going back to the past, like, you have to sometimes be in that position where you're going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to understand that, hey, it's going to pay off later on. So it's the same. Like, I would say, people will see you and it's like, oh yeah, you have nice things, you have this, you have that. I was like, hey, nobody pays me to show up. I need to show up for myself every single day, knowing that there's an opportunity further down the road to make myself better. You know, because I could say, you train for 300 days of the year. World Championship is only 1 day. So imagine you not getting any sort of funds for those 300 days.
Plus, it's every 2 years.
Right. And then you saying, I put in all that weight on that 1 day so that could actually give me something to pay off.
Yeah, you don't
know if it's going to happen or not.
No risk, no story again. So, especially coming off the back of so many worlds that had passed, and you got injured.
And I got injured, exactly. And I've had moments where I've told myself, like, Kishon, boy, like, you really want to go training today? It's like, I could sit down on the beach and just chill. It's like, I reminisce on my Toko life. It's just, I could walk to the beach, you know, but I love it. And it still makes me feel alive. It still makes me feel like chasing something. So, like, waking up, yes, and there's going to have days where you're not going to want to do it. It's the same like somebody going to the gym. I had a conversation recently, someone asking me, like, hey, how do you work out? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I was like, it's never going to be the same for me and you. You need to find your way, you know, and you need to find out what is going to be those factors that is going to get you out of your bed and going to keep you motivated, you know, and it's going to, like, be able to now make you not think about the process, but think about the end goal. So I just think coming back. I don't think going forward. I just think coming back. You know, so I just think about, so for example, every year, this is how most athletes, I believe, think. We think about the end product and coming back. But then you have to mix it in. Because obviously, if you don't have a goal, like we have Ultimate Championship this year, and they have first prize is $150,000 US. That's a big prize pot for us because it's never been that amount of money from World Athletics before. So everybody now thinking about this. So it's literally 2026 is about this, but you have to work your way back. So it's just like every day you wake up now, you know, that is and this also makes a good athlete and a great athlete. Because you now need to know how to sacrifice. And this is one of the things I was trying to explain to somebody the other day. I could take advantage of competing this year and go to as many meets as possible because I can make a bigger prize pot because I'm the world champion. People will want you to come to their meets. But at the end of the day, what is my goal? What is my real goal? It's the same like Olympics or Worlds. Like you now need to know that how are you going to reach that place to the best possible outcome. So it's like me saying, oh, you know what, I only need 5 meets or 6 meets to be able to perform at my best. But then you was like, oh, that's taking money away from my pocket because I'm doing less appearances, you know. But no, again, that's a risk because, you know, will it pay off in the long run that you're going to get a medal? You're not sure.
You're not guaranteed.
Yeah, so that's why some athletes will do 20, 30 meets in a year. And then you will see athletes doing 5, 6 because they're willing to take that chance for that medal because they know that medal is bigger than any other thing.
Wow.
You know, so it's the same. Like we always work from that main goal. And this is one of the main things I always really appreciate Ishmael for. It's just like we always worked from that position. It's like, okay, the World Juniors is the goal. Olympics is the goal. Those are our goal for the year, but we need to come back. You know, so it's just like the character, the different things, and we're working on those things, but that's not the last product, you know?
But so let me ask you, outside of the 2026 goal, not that I'm looking for a loophole.
Yeah.
Is there any let-up? Is there any day that you've decided, hey, I just want to Netflix?
Training wise, no. No.
They have no flaw in this guy.
No. No, because I know as a let's go back again, like my career is not going to last forever. So it's just like, why can't I work hard now?
Right.
Like I could work hard.
The stick with itness.
Yeah.
It's still that champion mindset to keep telling yourself that regardless, you know, on the days, as I read the quote earlier, on the days that you don't feel like it are the days that make the difference. You listen to Kobe Bryant and all these guys who are on the court first, who are on the court after, during the breaks, are on the court, turning out for training.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
putting in the work.
At the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you have to do what others not willing to do. And you have to show up when others not willing to show up. So it's like people will see, and I cannot see what my competitors are doing. So I cannot focus and say, oh, this person resting today, I go rest too. It's like, what? And people just lie. People does lie. I just do it too. Because you might post something today and it happened last week. Sports athletes do that all the time to make you feel like they're in this position.
Yes.
And because everybody's watching each other to see, how they going. And it's like, nah, them master do that.
Yes.
So it's just like, no, you have to focus on you. So for me, no, it hasn't been. And also, what also brings that not letting up is the new program that I'm doing with the coach. Because now it's smooth and it's easy, and I'm able to now execute without, for example, last year around this time, I was still guessing because we were making changes and I wasn't sure if it's going to work or not. And I would tell you, when I believed in the program, was when I went to my first competition in Doha, and I saw the results, and I was like, oh, okay, I could actually throw far with this program. But before that, I made the changes, but I was still not 100% certain that it's going to work.
Because it's comparable. It reminds me of, as you mentioned, only because you mentioned golf. Like Tokyo, living in Tokyo, you won't be expected to do golf. So I'm using a golf example here. When Tiger Woods changed his stroke, his swing, it was a huge thing coming back off of surgery, etc. And he had to go and change his particular swing. And I don't remember all the particulars, but I remember thinking, wow, what must that have been like?
Yeah.
And it's very similar to you now having to change all of that
and
at your age.
Not being confident. Because yes, you are showing up every day and thinking like, okay, one of the biggest thing too is that trust. Because I have to put my trust in this person to know that what he is telling me to do is going to work, and I need to close my eye, and it's not I trust you. No.
Not after
it's literally like fall off a cliff trust, because it can be that. It can be you rise or you fall, and
as clear cut as that.
Yeah, very. And I told myself, I was like, Kishon, you have nothing to lose.
Wow, dealing with one of the best in the world.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose, because you're at this position where you throw in 86, occasionally you go try 89, but I could always, if it doesn't work out, I know how to do that.
Revert.
Yeah, I know how to do that.
But you didn't come there to just do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, no, let me. And then is when I showed up in the first competition, and it was just like, oh wow, this is easy. I was like, oh, this is how it works. And it's just like
biomechanics.
Science.
Yeah, and
wow.
he let me tell you, them German and them. It had no pleasing them. It had no, and obviously based on his age, he old school. So he's from long time ago.
And accomplished.
Yeah, so. And I always used to look at it like, when you look at those TV shows and you see Germans, I have good friends in Germany and completely everybody's different. But you see the level of empathy, it's not there. It's not there. So I had a little struggle when we first met up. I was telling him, my foot hurting. He was like, you're not doing this. I was like, but this man not hearing me. Yeah. He literally not hearing me,
Yeah. He don't you victim.
No, he was like, you need to get into this position and the throw will go so and so. I was like, but my foot hurting though. So after a while, I just stopped. I just stopped saying anything. I was like, listen, I will make the adjustments in my head. Like, even if it looks a certain way to you, I would make the adjustment until I don't need to make the adjustment.
I know we're coming close to a close, but as you said that about when you said your foot hurting you, I always remember when I traveled with you to Cuba. And one of the things showing when you look at where a lot of these world champions train, and I remember you showing me that some of the bars are bent, and it's simply they're throwing discus into the bush. It is simply because the mindset is it has to get done. Yeah. They're not in a nice, pretty gym. They're not having the best facilities. It's just we have to get the job done.
One of my best experiences. Or couple experiences in my life, and I will always go back to it. That was also one of my eye-opening experiences the first time, because we went to Cuba in 2012 before Olympics. Me, Ishmael, and maybe my brother Quincy, some other people, and we saw what the Cubans had at their disposal. I was like, what? How? How are you Olympic champion? How are you world champion? How are you getting so much medals? When you see in Cuba, they have, as a child, we used to do this, sugar water. They just call it Cuban Gatorade, because a lot of these artists were drinking sugar water before they go and train. That's all. No breakfast, nothing. That's all. I was like, and peace. I was like, what? How? And that by itself made me grateful. Because you could come from one place, you could go to the next place, and you could forget it, and you could think that, oh yeah, I make it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that, I always told people say, we have enough, We have a lot in Trinidad. We have a lot more than a lot of people. But most of the time, we don't make use of it because the mindset.
Good
mindset.
It's all about the mindset. And
a desire to put in the work.
Cuba. But I remember the last time I went to Cuba was 2016. I left. And this is also something that I would advise. It might be a little controversial to coaches and athletes, but I always tell athletes that you need to think for yourself. And you need to learn, because you always are individual and you're going to be a citizen for the rest of your life. You're going to be an athlete for a short period of time. So you're going to be a person for the rest of your life, and you need to be able to cope with life. And it teaches you a lot. Discipline, different coping mechanisms, different things like this. And I remember the last time I went to Cuba, I was restless. I was like, what is this, why? I was like, restless. Days I couldn't sleep properly. And so one day I was like, Ishmael, I want to go home. I was like, I think I need to go home. And I just changed my ticket, I left and went home.
To reset.
Yeah. And as soon as I reached home,
that's good.
It's like, and that's me knowing my time there was over. Mm-hmm. Like, this was my last time going to Cuba. It's like, I didn't need to come here anymore. Mm-hmm. Because this place was doing less, it was holding me down more than it was pushing me, And that's when I realized that, sometimes when people, yes, I would tell you, I'm really, really grateful when it comes to people. I really, nobody is more grateful than me when it comes to people who have helped me and just people in general. And as you know, with Sean and different things, that's a whole story. But I also understand when something has reached its time.
Yeah. It's a sense of awareness.
Yeah.
Your self-awareness, but also around you. And I think that is powerful because that same principle applied when he made the change.
Exactly.
Chapters closed.
You're aware of himself.
Ishmael's like my father. I have spent the last 10, 12 years every day, almost every day we together, And it's just like we have that relationship, He always looks at me like a son because I've grown up with him. I literally, he has seen every emotion that I could possibly have. He has seen it and he has dealt with it, So this is beyond coach and athlete relationship here.
How important was that?
It was really important for me. Also, I always tell people, one of the best things you can do in this life is have people around you who's going to support you in your everyday life and not just come in and when it's convenient to them. So one of the main things, I'm very thankful to Sean. Sean is my manager. I always say manager, but obviously it's no, we don't really need, but we are really good friends. And he's still there for me. And Sean was responsible basically for me being who I am today. He came to Toko, he helped, he was he wanted us to go to university in the States and different, obviously plans change, but I wouldn't be Olympic champion, I wouldn't be nothing without Sean coming to Toko and say, hey, listen, I see your potential.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Like a scout.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of people don't know.
Your tribe is important.
Yeah, and for me, it's having those, I'm always really, really grateful for having those people, Ishmael, Sean, so many other people, your friends, You all have to know how to pick your friends. And people support in different ways, but you yourself sometimes need to know that it doesn't always going to take the same type of support because everybody can't show up for you the same way. And this is going through life, especially for example, my mom would be there in her own way, she doesn't really understand the sport, the event, but she asks questions and she will show up, she cook every day, it's just different things like this and make sure it have food, but just being so grateful for everybody who has been there. And I've met I feel like I always tell people, like, I feel like I am so blessed to be able to to have met so many people, and not just Trinidad, like throughout the world, you know. Like everywhere I go, I meet good people, and it's just like I've built relationships. Like my chiropractor, like I would tell you today, if I list everybody who's been a part of my team, 95% is not Trinidadian. So like I have my chiropractor who's Canadian. He's actually from Albania originally. You remember Abdel from Cuba, my physio. My current physio, she's Trinidadian, but she lives in Jamaica. You know, it's just like
everybody's travelers.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, everybody's good people, and I always been really, really grateful for having good people in my corner, and I think that's really, really, even if it's you might hear me mention it many times, like it's a one-man sport or that, and it's never a one-man.
It's about the tribe. It's a team. You know, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And a team is really important. So again, this has been probably the quietest I've been in many an episode, and because it's been so enlightening, you know, gents. You know, Luke, I always say your mentorship in many ways. You know, we talked, you know, to Kishon a lot about putting in the work, but I talk to you so often about to get to your level takes a lot of reading, takes a lot of, you know, effort and in your craft to be a Luke Kwamina. And you know, I would love, as you know, go along to explore more and more of that, but definitely I think we got the certainly a sense of what it means to put in the work to become a world champion, to do what you do, Luke, that you know, I always admire in so many ways. And this, like I said, I mean, it's definitely been extended past the time it normally goes on, but certainly requires a part 2 or part 3. And so, Kishon, I really hope that you come and sit down in that chair outside of your intense training schedule. I don't want to be, of course, you know, in any way take away from that. But before we wrap and we go into closing thoughts, what does that legacy throw look like? What do you have a distance on that board?
Yeah, I always believe that from a young age, I feel like I can throw like 94 meters. I think at this moment, it's not really something I can focus on in terms of like, oh, I want to throw 94 meters. I know I want to throw far. So I kind of leave it blank and let it happen whenever it happens. You know, at the end of the day, now the most important thing is building up that foundation. Because that throw, once the javelin leaves my hand, I have no control over it. But I have control of everything else, you know. So it's just like once I build up and focus on what I need to do, if the javelin land 91, 92, 93, whatever, I know that, okay, this is what was meant to be. But at the end of the day, whatever is given to me, I'm grateful. But I strongly believe that I can surpass 90 meters again. And yeah, if I would, as anybody else, we have a goal, I would think I want to throw 94 meters. Like it just sounds nice in my head, you know? But yeah.
And just from, you know, over the years, you know, you talk so fondly about your mom, and I'd like you shared the moment with the flowers as well. What was her reaction and the sense of pride that you felt telling her, you know, coming back home, you know, knowing that world champion?
I called her. She's the first person I called. Because she's been there for the journey, you know. She's been there when I have the lowest of lows and the highest, you know. I called her before I left the stadium. I had an interview in the stadium as soon as, because they were waiting for a race to go. And I literally called, and before I could get the words out of my mouth, I started to cry. I started to cry because the first thing, look, I feel like I tear it up right now. The first thing she said to me is like, you finally did it. It's like, you finally, like after all these years, you finally did it. And I was like, yeah. It's like, finally. And it's just like, yeah, like we didn't even need to say much more than that, you know. It's
she
just
knew
like
the journey.
Yeah, and it's just like the key words right there was just like, finally. Like, finally, you know.
And nobody could understand it.
Yeah, more than both of us, you know. And yeah, so it's just like, I I feel like me and my mom is one and the same. Maybe I talk a bit more now because I've been a little more exposed. You know how it is. But yeah, I kind of understand her because I have similar ways. But yeah, I know she's very proud because she's, as I said before, she's been there for a long time and she knows like the ups and downs. And when I could always just speak very freely. And when I speak to my mom, I don't really care if she understands or not. You know that feeling?
She listens.
Yeah, it's just like I just talking, you know, because most of the time when I talk, I kind of get the answers, you know, and I like
just
those,
want to share.
Yeah, I like those type of conversations, you know, when like you speak so much is that it comes to you. Like most of the time, people just keep things inside, you know. But yeah, for me,
powerful.
Yeah.
So,
Rob, I have the documentary title, you know, when he does that throw. Because he said it before. It's either we're going to name it the throw the world will never forget or the unforgettable throw. Yeah. Whatever we do, right? But what I got, and even in closing, the takeaway for me, because I was telling somebody yesterday, I've done so much of teaching and leading and speaking. I'm now in a new season of listening, right? Talking about the 4 levels of listening. But there's a quote that talks about taking advantage of time. It says, yesterday is a canceled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is the only cash that you have, so use it wisely. But it's a comparison of currency with opportunity and time.
Yeah.
And what I heard from Kishon today in many ways is he understands the tenure of his journey. It's not going to be no different from any other athlete. It's not going to be forever. And he's using the currency of time wisely. And he has married the value of work in a way that, you know, he said something powerfully. Nobody is ever going to understand the way you see that goal. You probably can't even explain it. He said, if I take the goal out of my mind and I give you, you're not going to feel the same way. You're not going to see it the same way. And that has really inspired me to really think about what's on the whiteboard in my head. What's the word in his whiteboard? It's betterment. So every day he gets up, while he enjoys what he has accomplished, he is not keeping the needle there too long. It has to move. And in many ways, I think he has started to build out the legacy. He talked about the institution. I think many athletes are going to need that. And I'm very happy to know the movement he has created in many communities, where I think it's something I learned in Jamaica. You know, my wife is Jamaican, but the more I went there at the time of champs, she said, you sure you want to go to champs? I said, what do you mean if I sure want to go to champs? She said, you could handle champs? I said, what do you mean? I grew up in sports. What do you mean if I could handle champs? She said, no, it's different.
Yeah.
Until I went to champs, then I said, I wonder if people know, because I'm coming from the leadership point of view. They research the food the Jamaicans eat, they research the coaches, they research all that. But I don't know if anybody has looked at the fact that the level of competition that was created at the high school level, and what Kishon is talking about today, competition, somehow it has a curriculum of growth that you can't get outside of competition.
Exactly.
Their minds are having to deal with, listen, Rob, the thing is so noisy. Like
35,000 people, something like
they're feeling like Olympics at their level. And listen,
energy.
Outside of the stadium that week, the Alma people who past students and stuff are wearing their uniforms. Is a whole movement in Jamaica. And so what I heard with him today is something that, you know, it's inspired me for youth work, what we're doing. That internal development must not be underestimated when it comes to work. We could build the stadiums, we build the facilities, we build the tracks, we build the fields, we put all of that in place. But you come back to the story in Cuba.
Yeah.
What is it that makes people without all of that?
Yeah, the mental capacity.
We got to build that. So that's my final word.
I want Kishon to have the final word, so I'm just going to chime in with, based on the topic, you know, that whiteboard needs to have put in the work.
Yes.
You know, certainly don't expect a result for the work that you haven't done. And even with that comes the mindset, with the work that you haven't done, to really get up and find that way, find that thing that gets you to love what you're doing, or don't do it, find something else. And simply remember certain things as was shared here today. If you're falling, make sure and fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Yes.
You mentioned something, Luke, about, you know, that the insight, and, you know, I always remember this quote from Sadhguru, where he says, seek to understand before you seek to be understood. And it is that reflection always, and that growth that comes, yes, with age. You know, they say age brings wisdom, but at the same time, based on podcasts like this, conversations like this, you're getting a jump start beforehand. Another quote, if I may share, that comes to mind is, if a cat dreams to become a lion, it must first abandon its appetite for rats. And that in itself is something that, if you want to do something, you have to change how you may be doing it, and be willing to put in
pay that price,
the effort, pay that price, which was a key takeaway from me. And Kishon, that whole no risk, no story, I might get it tattooed on my back. I don't have the frame like yourself,
no risk, no reward,
but it is certainly something that I want to bring into, you know, some of the many quotes or motivational things that I have in my life. So, gents, I'm honored to be here and having this conversation with you, Kishon. You know, I know I've taken away from your training schedule, but, you know, it's really been very powerful, what you've shared here today.
Yes, thank you.
I want to say it again and again and again. Congrats on the World Championship. You certainly, by the story that you've shared today, other people have also shared in that honor to understand what it takes. And so, your final thoughts.
Just to touch a little bit, like, I also was in Jamaica like 2 years ago.
Champs.
I went to Champs, and I never understood why Jamaicans are so good. And when I went to Jamaica and I spent the time, I really now can understand that the level of competitiveness is at an all-time high. And this is not competitiveness on the track. This is competitiveness in life. So I would walk into the grocery, I would go to this, it's just competition, right? Because somebody wants to be that person, or they want to achieve, they want to get it. And I would always use that as an example when I speak to people here. It's just like, this is all, you're seeing the wrong thing when it comes to Jamaicans. You see in that, oh, why they have this and that. It's just like, no, Trinis are laid back, we are chill, like, we cool, you know, we are the cool kids in the Caribbean, you know. But for me, I would always say, like, one of the most important things is being in love with something, with what you do. That by itself will give you some sort of influence, or some sort of, like, power to wake up and do it every day, you know. And a lot of people, again, will not have the opportunity to experience that, because life isn't fair, and life isn't what is always going to be for everybody, you know. It's not the same.
Not in control.
But one thing I think, being able to wake up every day and make the decision that, hey, listen, I'm going to put in the work. Like, I am going to show up today despite how I feel, is one of the main contributing factors to whether you can be good or great athlete, or good or great person in whatever you do. So it's just that one decision when you say, I am going to do the work. And I think that's one of the most important things that we as individuals can really wake up and say, is even if you want to go to the gym, if you want to go for a walk, even if you want to chase a goal, if you want to go for the job, if you want to go to school, you know, it's all about, because without the work, it's not going to happen. And that split second where you now give yourself that level of doubt is also very crucial. You know, it's just like, so you now need to say, hey, work. Like, I'm going to put in the work. You may not know what the work entails, but the work have to be put in. So, like, sometimes, as you said, take the risk. You know, without the risk, there's no story. Without the risk, there's no reward. So for me, I always told myself, like, and I have that vision of myself on the steps sitting in Toko, like, that will go with me for life. And I told myself that, hey, listen, Kishon, all in or nothing, like, yeah, you have to do it. Take the risk. I don't know I would have been Olympic champion. I don't know I would have been world champion. But I knew that I wanted to be something. And that's all it took. Like, me just wanting to be something. And, you know, I took the opportunity, and I don't know what, even if I walk out here today, I don't know what is in store for me. But I'm walking with a purpose, you know, and the purpose is to be better. So
strong.
Mic drop.
Powerful.
This is manhood. Put in the work.
Manhood, brought to you in part by Lucas Aid and Solomon's Bespoke.
Manhood, brought to you by Lucas Aid.
You're watching CNC3.
All right, so it's Tuesday.